good news.
Today in Overtown, at Northwest 12th Street and First Place, stands an apartment complex. But back in Miami's heyday, a hospital for colored people stood on this spot, Miami's Christian Hospital. Christian Hospital served the Black people of Overtown and the surrounding areas until it was moved to Brownsville in 1959. It was due to the efforts of several people, but mainly Dr. William B. Sawyer and Mrs. Clarence Bush.
Now, Dr. Sawyer was the doctor that brought me into the world. And also, he helped a lot of sick people. He had a great impact in the Overtown community.
Dr. William Benjamin Sawyer arrived in Miami in 1908. He joined two other doctors who were already treating the colored community. Dr. J.A. Butler, who ran the Magic City Drugstore, and Dr. S.M. Frazier, who arrived in 1904. Dr. Sawyer arrived to the Central Negro District, to a community faced with rickety houses and shacks, absence of fresh drinking water, and streets with inadequate drainage and sewage collection. This and the overall impoverishment contributed to the epidemics of yellow fever, smallpox, and other diseases. Although the child mortality rates in white Miami were high, they were even higher in Colored Town. Like A.C. Lightbourne, who advocated for education for colored children, Dr. Sawyer implored the city leaders for access to better health care for his community.
The Miami Herald, December 21st, 1911. A rather pathetic letter was received from W.B. Sawyer, a colored physician, asking for some relief in the way of a hospital for colored people. A number of these cases were cited as being in extreme need of care, for which there is now no provision.
On January 4th, 1912, a request for funds was placed in the Miami Herald by Dr. Sawyer. Funds were to be sent at number 50 Avenue G. At the end of 1918, while the city was ravaged by the Spanish flu pandemic, a temporary hospital was set up for colored people at millionaire D.A. Dorsey's Crescent Hotel on Avenue G and First Street. An appeal to the citizens of Miami for supplies was requested by the Red Cross. Dr. Thomas N. Lowry was engaged by the city as a head of the temporary hospital. And at the end of the pandemic, the colored citizens of Miami implored the city council for their own hospital. November 22nd, 1918, the Miami Herald. The city council acquiesced finally. This is probably due to some prompting by Mrs. Clarence Bush, whose maid was turned away from treatment at the city hospital. They suggested that the colored ward at the city hospital be discontinued in favor of a separate colored hospital. On May 17, 1920, the Miami Herald ran an article indicating that the application to incorporate the hospital Christian Hospital would be put before a judge on June 10th. Dr. Sawyer is listed as the vice president of the board of directors.
The Miami Herald, January 24, 1921. New hospital is dedicated. The dedication for the new Miami Christian Hospital was held in the auditorium of Mount Zion Baptist Church today. The Miami Colored Chorus rendered quite a number of plantation melodies under the leadership of Charles S. Thompson, then being the delight of Mrs. Bush, whose favorite song, Good News, was sung.
An article in the Miami Herald on October 14, 1921, indicated that the 12-bed hospital opened on January 28, 1921. But the hospital was in constant need for funding. On July 21, 1921, when the hospital was not even in operation for more than 6 months, a request for funding appeared in the Miami Herald.
I'm Lena Collier. I was born July 13, 1928 in Pike County, Georgia. In 1951, we moved to Miami when I started at Christian Hospital. And I worked there for 13 years, and we operated by pinching pennies, more or less. It was down to the point that when we had surgery, we had to wash the linen. And when we had baby deliveries, we had to wash the linen because we didn't have the monies to always put the linens in the laundry. It was really, really tough. When we moved to Brown Sub, things got much better. We were in a new hospital.
Christian Hospital moved to Brownsville in 1959. They operated here at 4700 Northwest 32nd Avenue, where the doctors and nurses continued to care for patients until they were forced to close in 1982. Today on its site is an organization for the homeless.